What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. So a very familiar theme generally across the course of our entire training camp, but definitely over the years for the New York Jets. The defense once again has been dominating the day for training camp. Now this is technically day 14 or at least the 14th practice for us, excluding the first joint practice with the Panthers and the second one, which was canceled with the Jets just opted to, essentially run versus themselves. So nonetheless, there's a few big themes here today. The first one being that Aaron Rodgers has had probably his worst training camp to date. Practice was absolutely terrible for him. He got abused religiously in terms of the pass rush getting to him, and then seeing not only some missed throws by him, which is uncharacteristic for one of the most accurate quarterbacks in history, but also coupled with this secondary that he's facing, it's causing a lot of issues for this first string offense as a whole. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the numbers and some of the observations here. So when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, what I mean by terrible is he had a day where he went 9 of 21, pass attempts for today. At one point, he basically went 7 straight passes without completing a ball. And there were a couple highlights in here, right? He was able to go out there and in practice, I believe anyways, or at least is one of his last few throws of the day, by scoring a touchdown to nobody else other than Garrett Wilson, which is not only our fan favorite, but a favorite of Aaron Rodgers with the, religious or continuous anyways, Devontae Adam emboldening talk surrounding their relationship. Now, what this means is ultimately the defense ran through our offense. The first string unit obviously has the best chance over anybody, but Zach Wilson's been stringing together some very strong days in and of himself. To be fair, I think it's almost a full week, at least 5 days or so, getting close to it, of us not really hearing any negative-ish concerns about him and how he's been practicing. So super excited there. I know his highlights for the day was a sideline dart tonight that they were able to take for a pretty significant gain. And then he had himself a touchdown to Irvin Charles, who we haven't heard about as frequently since, the beginning of training camp kicked off, or at least since the end of mini camp. Other highlights, Elijah Vera Tucker, we didn't have his presence today, which contributed to it. He has an ankle he's trying to work through. We have Jeremy Ruckert, who was out. He apparently had an AC joint shoulder issue that came up versus the Panthers. So he's kind of getting some time to rehabilitate that. Max Mitchell temporarily went out with the lower back issue, although he was able to return to practice. So luckily for us, we didn't walk away from this specific practice with any major injury concerns whatsoever. But guys like Jeremy Ruckert, keeping a tab on what will happen with Max Mitchell as back issues can get tricky. And then, of course, AVT, we want him at full strength as best as possible is going to be key for us. Some of the positives, though, from the defensive side, we got Quincy Williams, who had a pass breakup, which could have led to an interception. Jordan Whitehead was able to go out there and get himself an interception versus Rodgers. And the big one, Joe Tippmann seems to have finally earned his true center competition. Today, he got first team starting reps with the first string offense. And Robert Saleh spoke on this. He did mention that Connor McGovern will be starting again Wednesday. So we may finally be seeing a true competition come about where now it's actually Joe Tippmann versus Connor McGovern. And to be fair, I didn't think we would get to this point just based on how long it's taken Joe Tippmann to impress this coaching staff. But it seems like it's finally taken place, and all of the reps that he's gotten during the preseason games seems to have been at the forefront of this decision being done. So I would imagine Wes Schweitzer is no longer a part of this significantly anyways, and he's more so going to be looked at as maybe the primary guard, swing back up there. But I will say I am very excited to see Joe Tippmann in the mix. It doesn't bode well that this was one of our worst practices today when he's finally getting the opportunity. But from what I understand, it wasn't, he wasn't a significant cause for the offensive line problems today. So this is something to keep our eyes on. I will say I'm a little bit concerned that we've had a couple of days like this in a row where we've seen some of these issues come up for at least the Aaron Rodgers-led attack before Zach Wilson comes in and does some impressive things as part of his continuing rebuild at the quarterback position. But it's not unexpected. I mean, to be fair, this is exactly what we expect our defense to do week in and week out. And we have all of the pieces in play outside of consistent offensive line play. I won't even say it's a talent issue at this point specifically, but I do think that there could be a potential upgrade coming, right? We've seen Dalvin Cook, which I thought was a move that was going to be off the table now. We could see a potential upgrade at the offensive line position. Very few options out there. David Bakhtiari is the main name that keeps coming up. But I think this truly is just an issue of we haven't had our full starters at our disposal in forever. So we don't know what a consistent starting five will actually look like. Even when you want to consider training camp practices, we've kept, we've had Max Mitchell, we've had Billy Turner continuously swapping from left to right, which makes sense from the grand scheme of things. You want to know what maybe they can do best and how, they're getting acclimated to some new things. But in the same token, you'd expect that somebody would develop better staying at the, one position that they've been accustomed to since college. So this is the slow, continuous part of trying to improve these players. We'll see how it shakes out. But, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on training camp, and I'll catch you guys again. Peace.